Hi guys, my name is Paige. You are at my channel, Paperbacks and Lattes, and today I will be telling you my favorite books that are part of a series that I read in 2020. I've already have done my favorite standalones of 2020, but I read a lot of books that were part of a series, so I wanted to do a separate video of books that I read in 2020 that are part of a series. So let's get started. So the very first book that I read for 2020 was the second book in the What He Doesn't Know duet by Candy Steiner, and the second book in that duet is What He Always Knew. And there's actually a third book to like the duet, but you can read the first two and be, fine without reading the third one. But the second book just kind of like wraps up because this is a love triangle. And so this woman is in her marriage and their marriage has just suffered, is struggling, and she has, rekindled like an old romance she had with somebody before. And so she has to choose between the two. So the second book is where she chooses who she's going to be with. So I really enjoyed that duet. It was a really good love triangle. You just didn't know who she was going to choose until the last minute. And it was really good. But that is actually the very first book I read in 2020. The next series that I read, I binge read so many of them in 2020, was the Ice Planet Barbarian series by Ruby Dixon. This is an alien romance series, and this is about a group of girls who are kidnapped from Earth by these aliens. And they take over like the alien ship because they're trying, they're forced into captivity, and they take over the ship and it crash lands on this ice planet where these blue aliens live. So now they are on this ice planet with these blue aliens, and so now they are on this ice planet, and they have to, when the aliens find them, they have to have like this little thing inserted in them. It's like a parasite type of thing, but it's to keep them alive because like some of the gases on this planet are harmful. So that parasite, or that implant, also chooses who you're going to be mated with. So it's kind of like a fated mate situation also. And this series is so good. I read so many of them in 2020. I only think I've only read, there's one that I skipped over because it was just a novella and I really had no interest in it because it wasn't really a love story. It was like a friendship story, and I'm like, nah. And then I haven't read the newest one, which I need to get to. But I've read all of these in the series in 2020. So the first one, Ice Planet Barbarians. The second, Ice Planet Honeymoon, Bechtel and Georgie. Then Barbarian Alien, and then Ice Planet Honeymoon, Rayosh and Liz. Then Barbarian Lover, and then Ice Planet Honeymoon, Iheko and Kira. Some of these names in these books are super hard to pronounce. Barbarian Mine, Ice Planet Holiday, Barbarian's Prize, Barbarian's Mate, Having the Barbarian's Baby, Ice Babies, Barbarian's Touch, Calm, Barbarian's Taming, Aftershocks, Barbarian's Heart, Barbarian's Hope, Barbarian's Choice, Barbarian's Redemption, Barbarian's Lady, Barbarian's Rescue, Barbarian's Tease, The Barbarian Before Christmas, Barbarian's Beloved, Barbarian's Valentine, A Slice of Life, and Barbarian Seduction. So I wonder how many times I said barbarian in this video. So yeah, that was quite a few. That is 17, 17 in total. That's also the novellas in between those that, it's like 1 and 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, things like that. So quite a few of those that I read in 2020. And so then she has a spin-off series from the Ice Planet Barbarians. It's called The Ice Home. It's basically about where another group of women came to this ice planet. And so she kind of made a separate series for those, and it's called the Ice Home series, and I've been reading those. And I read 9 of those in 2020. So I read Lauren's Barbarian, Veronica's Dragon, Willa's Beast, Angie's Gladiator, Hannah's Hero, Devi's Distraction, Nadine's Champion, and Callie's Catastrophe. So got quite a few of those read in 2020. Hoping to finish off those series in 2021. And then still sticking with Ruby Dixon, I read 6 of the books in the Fireblood Dragon series. So this is about these dragons come through this rift, this like portal opening to Earth, and their minds, once they enter to Earth, their minds are just filled with madness, and they can't really think. They hardly even remember who they are. All they have, is and the intent to kill and to destroy her Earth and the humans. And so the humans that are, remaining, that have survived the dragon attacks, are, they build like these forts to stay in. And the first book begins with them capturing this one girl who's, like going over the wall to forage for like food and things. And they punish her by putting her out as bait for the dragon. And the dragon, instead of killing her or anything, he takes her as his mate. So this is a very interesting series. I really am enjoying it. I really want to get this finished in 2021, but I did read 6 of them in 2020. Fire in His Blood, Fire in His Kiss, Fire in His Embrace, Fire in His Fury, Fire in His Spirit, and Fire in His Veins. The next book is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kimmerer. I only have read this first book in the series, but it is part of a series, so I had to include it on this list. But this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling where this girl accidentally gets kidnapped and enters like the Fae realm, and she is the one that has to break this curse because the prince keeps turning into a beast, and so it is up to her to break this curse. Very excellent book. Can't wait to continue on in that series. The next one is the Sainthood Boys of Lowell High by Sahobin Davis. This is a reverse harem high school bully romance series. There are 3 books in that series, and I read all 3 of them in 2020. I had to wait for each one to come out, but there is Resurrection, Rebellion, and Reign. And this is about a group of guys who are like they're in this gang, but they're like in the junior division of this gang, and the upper division, like the adult version, the division of this gang, has been horribly cruel to the heroine of the story. And so the guys in the junior division are trying to protect her from the other guys in the gang. So it's a very interesting story. I really enjoyed reading it. It was very entertaining. The next one is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hong. I read The Kiss Quotient and The Bride Test, and the 3rd book comes in 2021, which I'm so looking forward to. But these books are about, the first book is about an autistic heroine who hires this like male escort to help teach her about having a relationship and being intimate with somebody. And the second one, The Bride Test, his mom basically orders or hires a bride to come live with him. And he is he's autistic, and he doesn't like his schedule messed with, and she comes to live with him and just pretty much disrupts his whole life. But feelings happen, and those 2 books are so wonderful. I highly recommend those. The next one is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. This is the first book in the Brown Sisters series. This is the only book I've read in the series, but it was so good. I've loved everything I've read by Talia Hibbert so far. And this is about a girl this girl has this illness that she lives with. She's always constantly in pain. And one day she is almost hit by a car, and she realizes that, you know, she could have died, and what would her life have amounted up to, because she's never really done anything. She's always, you know, just pretty much been very careful and stayed at home. So she makes this list of things she wants to do, and she eventually gets the help of the guy who like oversees their apartments that she lives in. He's like the handyman type of guy. And first they're kind of, they don't get off on the right foot, so they're kind of enemies. And then it turns into a friendship, and he starts to help her, you know, complete the items on her list. The next one is Lies and Lullabies by Serena Bowen. This is the first book in the Hush Note series, and the other books in the series are written by different authors, so I'm hoping to also complete this series in 2021. But I read the first one and it was so good. I loved it. These books center around the members of this rock band, and the first book, Lies and Lullabies, is about the lead singer, and he had gotten, for one summer, he had just left everybody and went to this small town to like escape, you know, and just be by himself, have peace and quiet. And there he meets the heroine of the story, and they strike up a friendship throughout the summer. And then the last night he's there, they have a hot night together, which leads her to become pregnant. But she doesn't fully know who he is until a lot later. And so when he comes back, like 3 or 4 years later, he realizes that he now has a child. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to read the other books in that series. The next one is the Harem of Heart series that I read in 2020. This is by C.M. Stunich. This is a reverse harem Alice in Wonderland retelling. It was so good. It was so good. So I read all 3 books in 2020. Allison's Adventures in Underland, Allison and the Torrid Tea Party, and Allison Shatters the Looking Glass. So this is about this girl who is, her name is Allison, and she somehow goes to the world of Underland, and she has to, you know, trying to get back home, but then, you know, she has there's like this prophecy behind her becoming queen, and then like her 9 guys in her harem. And so through all the 3 books, she is just, you know, they're very action-packed of her doing, you know, things to get home. There's different places she visits in Underland, and each one has so many elements from the Alice in Wonderland story. It is really fantastic. I love the series. The next series I read was the Rock Hard Beautiful series by C.M. Stunich. This is my absolute favorite. This is a reverse harem rock star romance series. And the first one is Groupie, the next one is Rhodey, and the third one is Moxie. I did put Groupie in my favorite books of 2020. I freaking adored this series. This is about a girl. She has nothing left. Her parents have died. Her boyfriend was cheating on her, so she's homeless now, and she is just heartbroken. And so she accidentally wins this like VIP pass to go see this band. And, you know, there she meets them after the concert, and she gets on their bus with them and tours with them. So, and of course, you know, it's a reverse harem with her and all 5 of the members of the rock band. The next series that I started, I haven't finished, but I did start it. I read the first 3 books in it in the Winston Brothers series by Penny Reed. I read Truth or Beard, Grin and Bearded, and Beard Science. This series centers around this family, the Winston family. And I think there's, I want to say 6 or 7 boys and then I think 1 girl. I think that's how it is. But they're a group of a lot of brothers and 1 sister, and these are, every book centers around one of them. And the first one centers around this guy who, he has been pining after this girl. He has been wanting her for so long, but she actually has had a crush on his twin brother. And they pretty much look alike, and she have a thing with each other, and she thought it was actually the other one, but then she realizes that, you know, maybe, you know, the brother she's had a crush on isn't the one that she should be with. So it was a very good first book to the series, and it really drew me into this family, into this atmosphere. And so then I read the second one, which was Grin and Beard It, and this was about another one of the brothers. And then, of course, I read Beard Science, which was about the brother Cletus, which he cracks me up. That book made me laugh so much. He's just such a quirky character, and I really loved his book, but I'm hoping to read the rest in 2021. The next series I read was the Havoc Boys series by C.M. Stunnage. I read the complete series in 2020. This is Havoc at Prescott High, Chaos at Prescott High, Mayhem at Prescott High, Anarchy at Prescott High, and Victory at Prescott High. So this is about a girl and these 5 guys, and the 5 guys have kind of like a gang at their school, and they're the Havoc Boys. And when somebody cries out Havoc, they want Havoc to do a job for them, and they pay Havoc. And so she has been bullied by Havoc before because her used to be best friend made Havoc bully her before. Now she needs Havoc's help because a lot of wrong things have been done to her in her life. And so she gets their help, and along the way they fall for each other, and it was such a good series. The next series is the True North series by Serena Bowen. I read the first 4 books in that series: Bittersweet, Steadfast, Keepsake, and Bountiful. This centers around this family who owns a apple orchard, and they sell apples and they make apple cider, and each one of the romances is based on the family or a friend of the family or somebody who works at the apple orchard. I love this series so much. I don't know why I haven't already completed it. I love it. Each one I've read has just been an absolute 5-star read, but I'm hoping to finish that one in 2021 as well. The next series that I started, I've only read the first book in the series, but that is Wolf Song by T.J. Klune. This is part number 1 of the Green Creek series. This is about a family of wolf shifters, and they are in this small town, and they're all male romances. And the first one was just so unbelievably sweet. I loved it so much, and I can't wait to dive back into that world and read the second book in the series. I've heard that all of the books in the series are so good, and I'm so glad that I was able to read Wolf Song in 2020. The next one is this Duet that I read. This is the Oosevelt series by Heidi Cullinan. The first one is Carry the Ocean, and the second one is Shelter the Sea. This is about 2 guys. This is also another male romance. Emmett is autistic, and Jeremy has severe depression and anxiety, and they form this bond because Jeremy's he and his family they move in across the road from Emmett and his family. Jeremy doesn't come from a very supportive family, so, you know, he ends up at Emmett's house quite a bit, and he really leans upon Emmett and his family. And they just strike up this friendship at first before it leads to more. And then it just goes through, you know, them trying to live their lives independently and live their lives as these people who have these disabilities, but they are just as important as anybody else. This was such a good series. It is really eye-opening on a lot of subjects such as, you know, disabilities and people who have these disabilities, what rights they're entitled to and what type of help they receive, and how our system is still, you know, so far behind on, you know, what it should be to help these people. So it is just so good. The next series I read all of them except the new one that's coming out in 2021, but this is the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. I read the first one, which is A Court of Thorns and Roses, the second one, which is A Court of Mist and Fury, the third one, A Court of Wings and Ruin, and the fourth one, A Court of Frost and Starlight. I absolutely love the series. The second book in the series is my favorite, A Court of Mist and Fury, but I love all of them so much. This is about a girl who accidentally kills this fae person, and she has to sacrifice her life in return for taking the fae life. And so she has to go live in the fae land, and she lives with Tamlin, who is the like king of the spring court, and it goes on from there. There's also a curse on the land that she has to help break, and it goes on from there. Of course, I cannot say anything else. I can't even tell you why I love the second book, because it would be huge spoiling. It would be a huge spoiler, but just read it and you'll know. The next series I read is the Element series by Brittany C. Cherry. This does not, none of these books are related to each other except just by the words of the elements, like the air, fire, water, and then the gravity. That's the only thing that connects these books, but none of the characters or the stories do. But I did read all 4 books in this series. I read The Air He Breathes, The Fire Between High and Low, The Silent Waters, and The Gravity of Us. All are amazing books, so very emotional. I won't go into each one, but Brittany C. Cherry really writes these emotional, hard-hitting stories, and you just cannot go wrong with any book that she writes, in my opinion. Just so good. I really recommend this series. The next series is the Fallback series by Autumn Gray. I read the Fallback Skywards, which is the first book. The second book is Breaking Gravity. There should be a third book, but I'm not sure when it's coming out. But this centers around these sisters, and you definitely need to read the first one first before you read the second one, so you know what's going on. But this family, they don't have a good life. Their father is very abusive towards them and their mother. They meet this family who moves to their area, and the heroine from Fallback Skyward, she has a romance with one of the guys from that family, but he is deaf, and she has to learn how to sign to him, and then something happens to where he ends up going to prison, and she ends up marrying his brother. So a lot of huge twists and turns in that book. And then the second book is an age gap. Her sister is going to college to be this cellist, and she falls in love with her professor. So very forbidden, since she can't date her professor, and he's also kind of her boss. So those are very good books in that series as well. I read the On the Island series by Tracy Garvis Graves. The first one is On the Island, and the second one is Uncharted. The second one is just like a novella to the first one. It kind of just gives you a look down the road from where you left off with the characters in the first book to see kind of what happened. And this is about a woman who she is hired to be a tutor for this teenage boy who's had cancer, so he's fallen behind in his studies, and so she is hired for the summer to be his tutor. While they're on their plane going to their destination, the plane crashes and they are stranded on this deserted island. They're there for years, and he grows up. Nothing happens until he's of age, but they fall in love with each other because they are all who they're the only ones that are left. They're all who each other have. And this one is very emotional where, you know, they think that they're never going to be rescued. They possibly might even die out there. You know, their circumstances are very harsh because they're just having to fight to survive, and what they go through is amazing. And then once they get back to society, what they have to face with her being older than him. So it is a very good series. I highly recommend this one. And then I read the Hangman series by Tilly Cole. I read the first one, It Ain't Me, Babe. Then the second one is Heart Recaptured. The third one is Souls Unfractured. The fourth one is Deep Redemption. The fifth one is Damnable Grace. Then 5.5 is I Do Babe. 6 is Crooks Untamed. 6.5 is Beauty Found. 7 is Darkness Embraced. And 8 is My Maddie. This revolves around a motorcycle club, which are the Hades Hangmen, and each one of the books centers around one of the guys from the motorcycle club. This is such an excellent series. This is more of a dark romance series because these books have a lot of triggering aspects to them, so you know, be mindful of that before you read them, but they are also full of action, and I just love the series so much. And then the next one is the Fallen Men series, which is another motorcycle club series, but I had read the first few in 2019, and so I read the number 4 and number 5 in 2020, which is After the Fall and Inked in Lies. I absolutely love Inked in Lies. It was so good. But these books are just kind of a continuation and more story around each of the members of the motorcycle club, and pretty much all of these stories in the Fallen Men motorcycle club are age gaps, and so good. The next series that I began to read in 2020 was the Morgan Brothers. I read the first one, which is Hero, and the second one, which is Captain. There are four, I think there are 4 Morgan brothers and then 1 sister, and each of the books follows a Morgan brother and then one of the friends. And I loved Hero so much. I did like Captain, but not quite as much as Hero. But this family, the Morgan family, is just a family that I wish like I could know in real life. They are so funny. They make these hilarious nicknames for each other. Their banter is just so hilarious, and so, you know, you just want to be a part of a family that's like that. You know, it's such a wonderful atmospheric book, and I just love being a part of their family when I'm reading their books. I read the Full Tilt Duet in 2020. So the first one is Full Tilt and the second one is All In. This book destroyed me. At least the first one. The second one kind of helped heal my heart, but the first one absolutely destroyed me. So make sure you grab your tissues before you read this book. But this is about a girl who is in this band and she really wants to get out. This is not the kind of life for her. It's okay. Shh. This is not the kind of life for her, and so she meets Jonah. He's actually their band's limo driver, and so this is their romance, and it was so good, but just expect to cry. The next one is the Magnolia Cove series by Ella Fields. I read the first 2 in 2019, but I read the third one in 2020, and that is Hearts and Thorns. And this is a very taboo book, but it also ended up on my favorite books of 2020. This is a romance story between stepbrother and stepsister. So I know some might really, you know, think that is taboo, but it was very good. There was a lot of angst in it because, of course, you know, it's a very forbidden love story. And, you know, they try to hide their feelings for each other, and they try to, you know, push them away because, you know, it's not socially acceptable, but they give in to them anyway, and then it's found out about, and it is just chaos because everybody's so upset about it. And then this huge misunderstanding happens where they don't see each other for a few years, and then they're brought back together, and their chemistry is just still off the charts between each other. It was such an amazing book. And the last one is Transcendence by Shea Savage. This is the Transcendence series. And then you have, the first one is Transcendence, and then the second one is like a small novella called Love. This is a caveman series where this girl accidentally goes back in time to the caveman era. And there she meets this caveman, and he thinks that she is his mate. He rescued her, so she belongs to him. He has lost all of his family and his entire village to a fire. He's the only one left. He's been so lonely and alone. And he's just so excited when he finds her. And, this was their love story. They never actually speak to each other except for a couple of words she manages to teach him. But their love story was so great because even at such a simplistic level, they couldn't even converse. He couldn't sign to her, but they fell in love just through, other kind of communication, body language and expressions, and just through actions, because he would do anything to protect her and to take care of her. And his love for her was just adorable and so sweet and just so pure. And that's really that's really what I love most about it. So those were all of my favorite books that were part of a series that I read in 2020. Let me know what your favorite books that are part of a series that you read in 2020. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.